Okay, Doug. So here's the kid from last time we met. This was February 26th, I think it was, or maybe 2 weeks ago. Sorry, I didn't get these videos up. But anyway, I will do my best to get these up much more frequently and more promptly. But okay, let's take a look here at what he's doing. So he's doing a good job coiled staying coiled and keeping the chin behind the shoulder. I just don't think he has to do this too much with the arm in this position here, where the elbow is out in front of the body, or out to the side of the body, I should say, rather than somewhere out here. Because sometimes when you're this closed off with the arm, then you have to overcompensate to get it back to where it needs to be. So for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, right? So if he's this way too early, then he's going to want to tend to open up too early. But the idea is to stay closed off and to keep this upper body from opening too soon. Okay, and we'll see how that affects him later on in the delivery. If he opens up too early, and if that arm has to go from this position and swing all the way back out when he's ready to throw the ball. But here's another thing that we want to take a look at. We want to take a look at the angle of the back leg and the weight on the back foot. Where's the weight on the back foot, so he's able to drive his lower body forward. And it looks like his ankle to knee relationship here is a little tall, which means it's a little too vertical, and the forces of his body, or the forces that he's getting from the ground, need to move through his body in a more angular position, not vertical. So the reason is that when you get too vertical here, then you end up just being a leg reacher and leaning the entire body backwards, where we want more of the mass of his body here to be upright and for the hip to go out. So for him to get the coordination of that, he needs to start moving the body out right about here. If he's going to lift his leg up this high, if that's going to be the peak of his leg lift, then he should start moving his body out right about here. He needs to start moving out here, but I can tell he doesn't have any of the weight on the inside part of the foot really ready to go, because if he did, then his ankle and his knee wouldn't be that vertical. He needs to get that ankle and knee down here when he is right about here ready to drive, because he's got to drive this way, so the angle has to be this way, if that makes sense. Okay, so we're still going to work a lot more on the back leg, getting that leg to move much more quickly, and well, not quickly, but more efficiently, and try to avoid being a leg reacher and then leaning the body all the way back. I know what he's trying to think here by trying to stay closed off so he doesn't open up too soon. All right, but let's go back out here now into where he drives. So when the front knee now passes the hip, here's where he needs to start driving forward, but because his knee is so vertical, he's not really ready yet to drive forward. So he's just going to kind of drift out. He's going to drift out, and the knee is going to now just turn over, and he's not really going to get any extension. And you see how the back heel just kind of pops up? You see that movement right there? Kind of goes from here and it pops right up. That's also an indication of not having the weight on the inside part of the foot where he can drive the body forward with more power. And this is another indication up here that he's not driving with power, because the ankle is landing in line with the knee, which means his stride isn't long enough. If he powers out of the back ankle and the back leg, and it doesn't just turn over, but it actually extends, the leg extends out and turns over, then we're going to be looking at a much more explosive and dynamic lower body. And when he's able to speed this part of his body up, he doesn't have to be so concerned about trying to keep everything closed, because that's only going to react to the power of the lower body. So his upper body's not going to want to move until his lower body's finished. He's going to, speed all this up, which in turn will create a later upper body. Okay, so watch what happens when he gets into when he really drives, which is right here. It's a very minimal drive because you can tell that his foot just kind of is already here. It's already extended. His leg is already fully extended out. So now all he's going to do is, because he can't really drive because the knee is so high, he's just going to put down. So he just kind of goes from here and just drops without gaining any ground at all. So he doesn't extend the leg. He doesn't get the hip out. He doesn't extend the back leg. It just kind of caves in. And because of that, all of this rotation now is going to happen at the same time. So watch how he drops the front foot and everything just spills forward. And right here, as he gets the foot down, boom, right there, he's already into trunk rotation. You see how his shoulders are now turning, and he's already into trunk rotation? His arm is in a much better position. So he should be feeling better. But once we learn how to really get the lower body to move, he's going to land his front foot, and he's going to be back here. His shoulders will be back here. Okay? So, again, there's not really much more that we can work on to fix his mechanics and his timing other than just the lower body, because the lower body power and speed has a direct effect on the upper body. See, the idea is that we need to get the legs to finish what they're doing, get the foot out, get the hips to turn before the upper body turns. But it's all happening at once. So he lands the front foot. You can already see, even before he's landed, you see how he's already turned? So now when the foot is all the way down and all the weight is now landed on his front leg, look at how much rotation he's in already. So again, when we are able to separate these two phases, the throwing phase and the lower body phase, he's going to be a dynamic pitcher. And he's going to have a really good safe arm. Okay, so he's making good progress. He's getting better and better. But as he gets stronger and more powerful and we get through a conditioning program, he's really going to see some much, much better pitching, and his arm is going to feel a heck of a lot better. Okay, I'll put this up for you as soon as I can.